I'm sitting here with one of America's greatest motivators. Not just America's greatest motivator, but the world's greatest motivator in the person of Les Brown. Now listen, this man has motivated people around the world, crossed cultural barriers, has done many things to help people, inspired thousands, even millions of people. And in inspiring all these people, there's some great, extraordinary stories that stand out. In Philadelphia, there's a young man by the name of Mike Jones that was absolutely inspired by this man's motivational talents and speaking. And we're going to talk about that today with Les, and he's going to tell us how this whole connection came together with Mike Jones. Talk to us about that, Les.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to share some moments with you right now. I think that when we look at Mike Jones and our relationship, Mike Jones and my relationship is very much an indication of the kind of person that he is, and that is one of determination. That he was determined to make a connection with me, and he had a desire to improve his life, and that's something that's needed now more than ever before. We're in Philadelphia, where they have an event, and they're offering the first 500 tickets free. First 500 tickets free.
Wow.
And every hour they've been announcing that. Now, mind you, they still have not had over 500 people to respond, yet and still. At this time, where thousands of people have lost their jobs, thousands of people are going through foreclosures and bankruptcies, the Jay-Z concert sold out in March, okay?
Wow.
The John Legend concert sold out when it was here. So what does that say? When you have people that are entertainment driven rather than personally empowered, not focused on things that can help improve their lives, but focus on things that will distract them from their lives. Mike Jones and I came together because he was focused on finding something that can help him to improve his life. He was not going to be satisfied standing outside of a drugstore with a can and some pencils in it, shaking it, hoping somebody will feel sorry for him and drop in a few pennies. He's a guy who had a vision of himself that he wanted to do better than what he was doing. He knew it was possible. He wanted to expose himself to someone that can provide the coaching, the methods and techniques that will allow them to do that, and he was determined to force the relationship, and he made it happen.
Wow. When you say he was determined to force the relationship, there's some extraordinary circumstances and how this relationship really developed. Can Mike tell us? Can you tell us?
Please. Mike can tell it better than I can. Yes, but it is an indication about why people are where they are. And most people suffer from arrested development, but Mike Jones proves what can happen when you're hungry to make a dream become reality, and the steps that you must take in order to make it happen.
Wow. What happened, Mike?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you also, Bishop Robinson, for this opportunity, and I want to thank Les for taking time out of his tremendously busy schedule to share with us on today and to be with us. I want to say I met Les Brown a number of years ago. I met him while he was speaking at the Valley Forge Convention Center, and I'll never forget it. I had heard him speaking before, I'd heard his tapes before, but I'd never met him in person, and I went there with someone who was kind enough to take me. And when he saw me in the lobby, that day I don't know how I was looking, but I wasn't feeling the best. But he looked at me and we shook hands and he said, "Hug me, Mike, hug me." And I'll never forget, he said, "Hug me." And he did his thing on that day. And I don't know, well, that next day, you know, I took the liberty to call the hotel and find out where he was and connected with him on the phone. And I never get it. I got up the nerve to say to Les, and I don't know if he ever remembers this. I said, "Les, you know, I would love to speak with you and travel with you." In fact, I said, "Mr. Les Brown, if I would be so bold, I would love to travel." He said, "Man, that ain't bold, that's intelligent."
Right.
And so once I got my foot in the door, and I thought to myself, I said, "Oh boy, I'm in now." I started talking to him, and so I started to deal with him like I dealt with other people. And I said, "Man, Les, I got a brilliant idea. Man, we could make a lot of money." Now, I didn't know at this time that this man back then was making $25,000, $30,000 an hour.
What?
But I was telling him I had an idea. But me and he could make a lot of money. He would listen to me for a while, then he said, Mike, wait a minute, Mike, wait a minute. He said, "Mike, how much you make?" I said, "Well, I guess I figured about $500, $600 a month." A month. Not a week, a month. And he said, wait a minute, Mike. He said, Mike, he said, I make $25,000 an hour. He said, man, your thinking got you $500 a month. My thinking got me $25,000 an hour. Wow. You got to come up to my thinking, man, right. Tell me you got an idea. Right. I hung up the phone. I never forget, I hung that phone up in that half-empty apartment. I'll never forget it. Man, phone that, I said, you know what? The next time that man talked to me, I ain't going to be making no $500 a month. And that, the rest was history.
Yeah.
Wow, wow. What a powerful story. What a powerful story. Let me ask you this. I would consider an inspirational icon. Where do you get your inspiration from?
My mother. Yeah. Wow. I always say that all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. Just as Mike's grandmother inspired him. And I still, to this day, my mother has been passed down for 15 years. I feel her spirit when I speak, and one of the things I always say when I end my speeches is, this has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. That's what I'm known for. Right. And I do that because I want young men to respect their mothers, because a man who does not respect his mother does not respect women at all.
Wow.
And also have a sense of purpose and direction with their lives. There should be someone that we think about that will hold us accountable, that will always cause us to want to rise to the higher occasion in terms of how we conduct ourselves and the choices that we make.
One final question for you. Out of all the places that you've been around the world speaking and motivating people, what would you say would be the most defining moment for you as a motivational speaker?
I think when I spoke in the Georgia Dome, speaking to over 80,000 people. Wow. That was a defining moment. I gave a presentation called It's Not Over Till You Win, which became the biggest seller in the history of Amway. And that presentation, because I've never spoken to an audience that large, it was very intimidating. And I remember my mentor saying to me, go for it, Les. Just pretend you're in your living room and go all out. You are Mamie's boy. They came to hear you. You didn't come to hear them.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you and the work that you're doing.
Thank you,
and
Mr. Jones,
we're excited about the possibilities.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.